We often see professionals with high-level credentials who still lack basic emotional maturity. A degree might get you through the door, but it doesn't automatically grant you the character needed to stay there. Think of the old analogy. If you place a frog on a brick of solid gold, it won't value the treasure. It will simply jump back into the drain. Changing someone's status doesn't change their instincts. True education is defined by a single metric, a measurable change in human behavior. If your perspective hasn't evolved and your conduct hasn't improved, you haven't actually learned anything. This creates a problem for the modern era. If learning is about behavior, we are in trouble, because the environments that used to teach us how to be human are disappearing. There is a form of social intelligence that isn't found in a textbook, an intuitive understanding of empathy, logic, and respect for others. For previous generations, this intelligence was a byproduct of how they lived. Growing up in a household of 20 or more people meant you were constantly surrounded by different perspectives and age groups. You couldn't avoid the friction of communal life. Sharing a single space with so many relatives forced children to cooperate, resolve conflicts, and develop social awareness just to get through the day. The family unit acted as the primary school for human behavior. In that environment, you didn't need to read books to learn basic decency. You acquired it through the simple necessity of living together. That village structure has largely collapsed. Mass migration has emptied out the rural communities where these large families once thrived. People moved into concrete hubs like Gurgaon and Noida, living in vertical towers that offer modern amenities but isolate us from the people next door. The expansive family tree of the past has been replaced by a much simpler, lonelier model. We now live in alienated nuclear families, isolated triangles of 3 or 4 people floating in a social void. Because the communal village is dead, many modern households exist in a vacuum. They lack the daily social friction that used to naturally refine a child's character and teach them how to navigate the world. As traditional social learning faded, formal systems had to fill the gap. In 1995, under Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao, the country launched the midday meal scheme to bring children into a structured environment. By 2003, strict safety protocols required teachers to sit together and taste the food before it was served to the students. In one school, a group of young, educated teachers from various backgrounds began sharing their meals from a single tiffin box. Their education had given them the logic to look past deep-seated social barriers. However, when one teacher told her uneducated mother about this, the mother was horrified. Relying only on old traditions, she couldn't understand why her daughter would ignore the rules of her ancestors. This is where education succeeds. While the mother relied on inherited tradition, the teachers used their own reasoning, refined by years of study, to override those prejudices and update their behavior. With the village structure gone, we no longer have that constant stream of wisdom passed down from elders. This is why study has become a vital tool. It attempts to fill the social gap left by our changing families. This process is often physically grueling. It involves waking up at dawn, skipping meals, and spending 8 hours or more in intense concentration. This agonizing grind reshapes the student's perspective well beyond the requirements of an exam. Surviving that kind of struggle builds a visceral respect for the concept of hard work itself. You learn the value of effort through your own exhaustion. We can call this process the empathy engine. The sheer labor of studying forces a student to recognize and respect the struggles of others. It creates a societal bond that the modern nuclear family cannot provide on its own. Those who avoid this intellectual effort, regardless of their wealth, eventually revert to unrefined behavior. Without that mental discipline, they never truly evolve. The window of time dedicated solely to your development is narrow. Within a decade, the demands of adult life will make this kind of focus difficult to reclaim. Use this time to read deeply, expand your intellect, and seek out literature that challenges you, rather than just chasing a degree for its own sake. Submitting to the discipline of education is the only way to shed our inner frog. It ensures that when you finally reach the gold brick, You have the character and maturity to actually belong there.